I just have a question for you. Do you think this handy dandy platform we're on right now is going to get dethroned? Because I do.
Okay, first of all, we've already clarified during this particular podcast that you're not a fan of Zoom.
I'm not.
Not a fan. My and okay, the story that he's bringing up, folks, is about a not new but new-ish
Yeah, it's
video platform called Hopin. Is that right? How
yeah,
you say it? Hopin?
it's for like it's essentially birthed to replace not replace but to provide video for large events.
Yeah, they're calling it virtual venue, right?
There you go. That's the
So
word I was looking for.
they're marketing it as a virtual venue. Now, I went and did my due diligence, unlike Danny ever does, but I went and did my due diligence, and what I got out of it is less Zoom being dethroned, because we know in any marketplace you can have different things that do different things better, right? We've already talked about that. They're marketing this as they see a future, and I don't blame them, where you have these conferences you used to have before Dos Equis, these conferences all across America every month out of the year somewhere, where thousands upon tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people would gather in a city and talk technology, or they would talk real estate, or they would talk whatever. And you would go into these big huge ballrooms, and there would be tables set up that would have different subjects going on, different classrooms with different teachings going on, all kinds of support marketing people with tables and free crap and whatever. I think they're trying to get into that with, hey, let's create a virtual conference room where you can essentially set that up. I can
Yeah,
create a real estate conference and have 50 classes going at a time, which you could just pop in and listen to, interact with, and go into another one, and then another one, and then another one.
and I think Dos Equis, despite I mean, I think we're going to see the end of it, but I think what it will birth is it trained consumers, it trained the average consumer to use Zoom and the video platform
Absolutely.
to communicate. And so the value that you felt that you got from going to a live event, which Hopin acquired StreamYard. And StreamYard, some of my favorite YouTubers use StreamYard, Michael Malice and the like. They acquired StreamYard. So they are growing and they're attempting to, I think, eventually in the, you know, Danny doesn't do his due diligence. The literal title of the article that is in our show notes is the next Zoom dot dot dot. So
It's not the
and
next Zoom. I think it's a completely different product for a completely different group of people.
yeah, but I'm
Nobody is going to
saying
be using the price point. This company's so new that they have a 3-tier pricing system that they haven't even
yeah,
figured out their first 2 tiers. They've got the lowest tier is the only thing they figured out. It's
right.
$99 a month and doesn't come with everything. But that's my point is, with something like this, you've got to figure out how to make it profitable with really cool technologies, and that's where they're having a hard time. There's a lot of these, not just Hopin, there's a bunch of these trying to pop up out here that are trying to video conferencing type of technologies and make them better and more stable, and then figuring out how to monetize them because of the cost, especially upfront cost of servers and such like that, how to do it and get a decent product until you start making money.
So I know a friend of a friend who is in the events business. They do
Mm-hmm.
corporate events, and you would think they got nailed and they're done right after Dos Equis, but they mounted up, they reloaded, they figured out how to do. Companies still want to go to a provider like a niche venue, an events provider to go. Okay, they don't want to sit there and think about how we go to organize the technology. How do we make sure this all works? And hey, we still have to have people talking. And some of these, events that I've seen take place, they actually rent a soundstage. They Dos Equis test people on the way in, so the speakers are in a little more. So there is a perceived value versus somebody sitting in their, mobile home on their property with a sign that says "Big Man in behind them," right? And there's a perceived value from, okay, this is an actual stage. I feel like I'm there. You can chat, and so I think that services like Hopin and now with their acquisition of StreamYard, hey, we're a podcast that's done entirely online right
Right.
now.
Well,
For
and like,
so
well, look, they have to figure it out and figure it out. Look, you know as much as I do. Sometimes marketing and business is timing, right? Can they figure this out in time? I'll give you a great example. This is January. Normally, you're a technology guy, right? Normally in January, what's usually in Vegas in January?
CES.
The largest technology-based congregate of people in the country. Technology, everything from televisions to PlayStations and everything else
Yep.
gets revealed in January in Las Vegas every year. They didn't have it. You
Yeah.
haven't heard about it because they didn't have it this year. Now, if Hopin was at the stage they're in now last year, maybe you had that using Hopin.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because they wanted it. Not
Yeah.
because Vegas still lost out, which I found
Yeah.
out this week. I read an article that Vegas is the highest state with unemployment. I think they're at 34% unemployment. Vegas
Time to go
now,
buy a house in Vegas.
right? Well, now Vegas obviously they rely 100% on people coming in down,
Yeah.
all that. But the point is Vegas really needed this conference to happen, and guess what? Conferences to happen in the future. I don't know that they're coming back completely. Do I think they'll come back? Sure, I think they will. Do I think they'll come back to the extent that they did? Because I believe, just like you did, people resist change. Those conventions have existed for decades. 50,
Right.
60, 70 years, right? Those big conferences. And I think
Dude.
that technology has been there for a while to create these more online, more cost-effective conferences, but people have resisted, right?
And let me tell you this, man. The only big conferences like that I've been to are for like network marketing industry, direct sales industry. They're electric. It's freaking electric.
Right.
It's
Well, no,
lovely to
dude.
go.
I've been to real
Such a
estate
good time.
conferences, owners conferences, right? I've been to several owners conferences for the two different companies I own pieces of, and we have to have meetings and stuff. Hey, shut up! It works. Okay, you're
I know.
just jealous. That's all it is.
It's
Okay,
actually
but the
true.
point is, you are right. These types of conferences can be electric, right? There's a
Yeah.
reason Comic Con, and you know what I mean, and people go pay all kinds of money to go to these things, but I think what you want though, and this will ultimately lend to make money. You think Comic Con, for example, still won't sell those in-person tickets, and then sell these online ticket sales,
Yeah,
right, for
with
much
20,
cheaper, where
yep,
you can
20
watch
bucks.
all of this stuff happen. Because I'm not. Look, I like Comic Con. I read
Yeah.
about Comic Con you know what I mean, all of it. My point though is I'm not paying to go to Comic Con. I'm not going to Comic Con, right, or whatever. But if I could pay a reasonably priced ticket to get a hop-in version of Comic Con where I can just jump in and out of panels like I'm sitting in a seat, and I can walk over here and listen to this person, you know what I mean, talk, and this person talk, or whatever, I would pay a price to do that from this office, right?
Every episode we do, I learn something new about you that makes me regret our business relationship. And one of them is said,
Hey, I've taken the boys to the Greater Austin Comic Con the last several
okay,
years. All right,
oh, good for you. This isn't, by the way, some small insignificant company. Hopin is valued now at 2.1 billion
okay.
dollars.
We've talked about
Valuations are
valuations.
what?
They don't have a product right now.
Well,
Okay.
now, and let me just circle back to, if you're the entrepreneur and you have a special sauce, you can go start and do a virtual event. So much you can go, and here's what I believe I see happen. I could see a situation where someone goes and grows an event. Because events are a business. You can make money from them.
100%.
If you're a podcaster, if you're a whatever it is you are, you can go start an event. There's companies out there that will help you. But what I think is, like, listen, Tana Mongoose, whatever that chick's name is, the YouTuber, went in like because she got booted from VidCon, so she started her own competing conference, her own competing thing. It
Sure.
was a disaster. She didn't know what she was doing, and they brought in a company to help, and that company didn't know what they were. It was a huge TanaCon was a huge disaster. Now, Tana Mongoose go say, I'm doing an online virtual event, right? And it could be huge
Mm-hmm.
because young children, young kids who are her fans, who, again, I'm scared for the future generation when Tana Mongoose is people's idol, but, parents, I blame the parents. She can go and start a virtual event with all of the same characters she had showing up to her event. The scale of would be so much easier, right?
Sure.
And one of the podcasts you have started listening to that I'm a huge fan of is Your Mom's House.
Yeah.
And their network started doing live events, live, because they love showing these horrifying clips that I can't even watch. Like, I have a strong tolerance for things,
Right.
but some of
Right.
the stuff they show is like, I love the violence part of it where they're showing people getting hurt. That's fun. The rest of it I can't watch. So I've never watched
Yeah.
one of their live events. But the point is, they have they are also they are they charge $10.
Well, and by charging for them, you have now paid to be here. I can do pretty much anything I want, right? The
And they don't have any
normal
of the
terms of service does no longer applies, right?
and this is a funny story about them. A company went to them and said, "Would you guys like to do a live?" And they showed them. They said, "Yeah, I know you think you could do it, but let me show you the videos we're going to play." It got through their general counsel. Everybody saw it. Everybody signed off on it. The CEO saw the video after it happened, ipso facto, and said, "Yeah, you're coming off of our platform." So, um, what I am saying to the smaller entrepreneur that does have 1,000, a 1,500, 2,000 person audience that would love to do a conference, hey, go do 2, 3, 4 years of online and then offer the in person, right? Because the further
Absolutely.
away we get from Dos Equis, because listen, after that one thing happened in 2001, it took us 2, 3 years to feel normal about being in large public spaces,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm still suspicious of suspicious people when I'm in these large spaces. I'm looking at everybody.
Look, look. This should be part of the game plan for anybody that creates content. That creates whether it's educational content, whether it's our kind of content, whatever it may be. And let me tell you something. You're gonna see Danny and I on a panel someday. You're gonna see Danny and I do a conference someday, both virtually and in person one day. Right? You're gonna look. This should be part of a business plan for. Again, I've wrote a book in the past. I traveled around the country and did conferences. Yeah. It should be a part if you're putting out content of almost any nature. Conferences, virtually or otherwise, should be part of your business plan, right? It's because it is that way for you, just a yet another way for you to market your content, get close, and guess what? Get up close and personal with your audience, even if it's virtually, right? Get to know your audience, which you should be always getting to know, trying to get them to like you. I know they'll never like Danny, but you know what I mean? We try to get him on board, but that kind of thing. Go ahead, Danny.
That is a hateful and racist.
Why has it got to be racist? That
because
they don't like you? Just because they don't like you does not make them racist, Danny.
I know, but
it makes them normal. That's
okay. But the point is, it's 2021. I've got the power now. Okay, so I'm going to use the race card. I'm flicking that race card like that guy from the X-Men movie. But I forget the character's name now.
Did you just attempt to make a comic book reference without knowing what the hell you were talking about?
Yeah.
That is atrocious, my friend. Atrocious.
Yeah. I don't care. But what I'm getting at is, hey, listen, I'll give you a free tip right now. Get people signed up for your online conference, charge them $60, put together a little gift box. Okay? Give them, like, if they showed up to the conference, they're going to get a badge. I collect all of the badges from every conference I've.
Yep.
Give them a workbook, something physical. Yeah. You pair that physical with the virtual.
Yeah.
And I think you have a real product mix there. I think people would be super interested in what you.
So our first virtual conference, paid conference that we do, we're gonna.
Yeah.
You're saying we're sending out goodie bags afterwards. We're mailing
No,
goodie
w-
bags
w-
out to everybody. Is that what you just agreed to?
no, not after, before. So while they're at the conference, like we're gonna
Ah,
send everybody a 6XL Idiots versus Idiots shirt. So the majority of the conference just looks like a
that
child
you're
wearing their
required to
dad's
get
shirt.
into on camera, right? Like you
Yeah,
can't get in. We're not admitting you into the conference without it. I
without
like it.
seeing
I
the.
like it. Now
Yeah.
you've just agreed
So
to
I'm
do
just,
something, you know.
and the reason I bring this up is my church did this where they said, hey, we're going to have, they do in person, socially distance, all that other stuff, Christmas services. They said, hey, we usually like you to invite your friends and family, but we know that that's not possible, for Christmas 2020. They put together a virtual kit with a snack cake and a couple other just knickknacks and doodads or whatever.
Nice.
But it made you feel when I didn't take one because I was like, I'm not inviting anybody and I don't want to take whatever. But what I'm saying is, it made when I looked at the kid, I was like, now this is marketing genius that I, as an entrepreneur, will absolutely steal, and they, as a church, can't do nothing about.
That's right. Well, it's only happened with birthday parties for kids' birthday
Well,
parties for
but
a
what I'm
decade and a
saying
half.
is, if you have an event starting on, the third, you want these boxes to get there on the second.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
absolutely. I agree with you. It's a classy thing to do. And again, usually those swag bags as they call them, right, are also filled with marketing material from you,
Yes.
right? With your
And
logo and your whatever. So
and
it
from the companies that will be sponsoring our event. Look at me,
absolutely
I just Gary V'd something.
just setting that expectation, right? I said it earlier with us being on panels, So yeah, like we're just making it happen. That's all it is.